Good morning. I think everything is on. It's Monday, December 11th. Welcome to Morning Practice with Olivia. Very grateful for you to join me here today. This week, we're going to focus on alternatives to poses that might be slightly more accessible, as well as expanding on what we began to talk about last week around the second Yoga Sutra. I started to talk about the 7 limbs of yoga. And of course, when I dove into my notes last night, it's actually the 8 limbs of yoga, which I'm grateful for not a huge audience at the moment because that's a bit of a mistake. But yeah, and it's an awful lot to unpack in just the kind of short session that we have together, but we can think about it over time. And the reason that this is relevant is, when we're thinking about what we're doing in morning practice, yes, we're coming together to do a little movement, meditation, and breathing. But what does that do ultimately? And why do we do it? And it is about cultivation of awareness, not just of our bodies, but of our mental habits and our physical patterns. And they're very closely interlinked, the mental and the physical body. So I've already mentioned that we talk about, we focus on meditation, breath work, and movement. So that would be asana is the Sanskrit word for movement, pranayama for breath work, and dhyana for meditation. When we think about the other 8 minus 3 is 5. The 5 other remaining limbs, what do we talk about then? Because what else is relevant? And the next really big one are 2 together, the yamas and niyamas. The yamas refer to sort of ethical behavior principles, let's say, and how we interact with the world outside of us. And then the niyamas with an N are ethical behavior principles in relation to how we have a relationship with ourselves internally. And then you have pratyahara, which is the withdrawal of the senses. That's another limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And dharana, which means focus and concentration, which again is something to cultivate throughout the practice. And finally, samadhi, which is a sort of a state of I want to say enlightenment, because it's the state we find ourselves in when the ease of the flow is exactly matching the ease of our internal peaceful expression. Like there's an inner state of bliss that is completely being embodied by our relationship with ourselves, our relationship to the world outside of us, our focused concentration, our ability to be quiet and meditate at the same time as being aware of our breathing and our movement. And it's sort of a state that where all the factors of the 8 limbs of yoga come into practice together. And that's a lot to sort of take on as a linear thing. It's sort of like, oh, that's a lot of notes to make. And I always think the most useful way of approaching the 8 limbs of yoga is practice, because you to sort of directly say we're here and here and here today, or all the places, which, ideally we're all the places. And the focus and concentration is being cultivated in the movement, in the breath, in the meditation, in how we have a relationship outside of the world with the outside world, and how we have a relationship with the inside of the world. And that the best way to really have a good understanding of that is really to just practice yourself and notice. I think a lot of about what we talk about when we talk about the cultivation of awareness in yoga is really just noticing what's actually going on and being truthful about it. And being truthful is one of the niyamas. Our relationship with ourselves is something we call satya. Actually, truth is the niyamas. Oh, I'm glad no one's with me today. Because I think you've got to be truthful to yourself ultimately in order to understand that you are being truthful with the world outside of yourself. And I think that's an important distinction. And I really feel, especially because I want to focus this week on, attaining postures in yoga is not the point of yoga. What is discovering your relationship to your body, which requires a certain amount of, I have to be honest and truthful about what I can or cannot do, and actually have a practice that supports and serves me. I think it's useful, to bring this up, that one of the best things you can do for yourself as a human being in any practice, whether you're practicing yoga or just going about your day, is noticing how much of a friend are you being to yourself? What kind of voice do you use to talk to yourself with? What kind of language do you use when you think about your own actions? Is there a lot of judgment around this kind of perceived idea of what we're supposed to be able to do, which is a totally self-imposed notion? Or is it more of a celebration of knowing that we are doing the best with what is possible for us as bodies, as people, and being kind to ourselves in that? You hear that a lot. Be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself. And that really starts with being a friend to yourself and not telling yourself off if you didn't get 7 million things done this morning, or not being unkind to yourself if you didn't have the wittiest thing to say at just the right moment. It's okay to be in the not knowing. It's okay to just be showing up for a little bit of presence, but not maybe attaining all the things, because we are superhuman. We are, but it's when we are hard on ourselves, that process can become a bit of a framework that inhibits us from accessing our truth in a way that's pleasurable and meaningful. So I realize I'm talking a lot. And hopefully the words will begin to make sense as we go through practice today. So we will start with our meditation connecting to our hearts. So let's just fall into a nice straight spine, sit up on a block, blankets, sturdy cushion, or if you like, sit in a chair, just something that's comfortable for you, and come into a nice straight spine, and just gently closing the eyes, feeling the breath. Noticing. And we'll Just if there's a lot of noise in the head, just observe that and notice that. There's no reason for you to judge yourself. We all have a lot of noise in our head. Maybe just step away from the noise for a moment and allow yourself to be quiet. Breathing in, breathing out. Just focusing on the breath for a moment, maybe as you find the length in your spine, just calling our attention there. And it's not about having to qualify or measure the experience, but simply observing what the experience is of being in our body this morning. We don't have to measure things, but we can appreciate them, have a relationship with them that is supportive, letting ourselves know that we are listening to whatever is coming up in us with compassion. I am being a friend to myself. I'm going to listen to my body with compassion. I'm going to listen to my heart with compassion. I am going to approach my feelings, be they difficult or challenging, with compassion. Just as you would for a beloved friend. Be that friend to yourself. Nice deep breath in, deep breath out. And then you're just going to bring one hand to your heart. You might bring the other hand over top. I'm rubbing my hands slightly here because it's a chilly December morning in San Francisco. Yeah, there's a lot of heat coming from my palms, and I'm noticing the heat from the palms, how good it feels when they're together, how calming and supportive it feels when I notice the heat from my palms connect to the magnetic field of the heart center and the life force that emanates there. This is a very precious life, the life that you are holding just now in your hands. We want to treat it with kindness and with compassion and with love. Just feeling your heart and feeling your hands and the energy moving between the two. And if you feel ready, we'll just focus in on that internal light that lives inside the heart, your Jyoti, beautiful, brilliant light in each of us. And as you inhale and exhale, you might imagine that the movement of the breath is connecting to that heart light and just expanding the light. And expanding the light. And your heart light may grow beyond the perimeter of your heart. And you can begin to feel it filling your body as your heart light grows and emanates through all parts of you, lovingly, gently. And that heart light expands beyond your body into the space around you, growing, growing. You are a unique and beautiful, brilliant light. Your light shines from your heart at all times. We'll just continue to focus on the breath, focus on the expansion of your heart light. And if there's a situation in the world, um, people, a place, a person that you would like to offer the benefit of your morning practice here today, to share that with them, or that place, or that situation. And just call to mind, let your heart feel its feelings for that place, the situation, the person. That person can be yourself. And just offer that beautiful light of your heart. We'll just take another minute or so in silence and meditation here. Slowly deepening the breath. Take a few deeper inhales and exhales down into your belly. You can let your hands drop into your lap. Just gently opening the eyes, keeping the focus really soft. The gaze is out in front of you. If you need to uncross your legs and recross them, just come to a different position. The year is drawing to a close. The light is different, and I'm so grateful for this space that I can offer this practice to you. I have such hopes there'll be a new space soon of my own. But thank you, Angela. Thank you, Abadanos. It's just really amazing that we're here and just watching the morning light come on. And wherever you are listening to this now, you might just look around you for a moment. And it's so amazing, isn't it? We create these lives and we're given such beautiful things, and just a moment to say thank you to this extraordinary place we find ourselves in together. And I'm so grateful for you for being interested in and willing to practice together in the morning. It's a palpable force in the world, and I'm really honored. So we'll do a little breath work. Yeah, let's do a little breath work. And I think what we'll do is just really just consciously breathing in for a 6 count and exhaling for an 8 count, which really does mean slowing the breath down considerably. Be about a 2 count pause in between the inhales and the exhales. If either of these are uncomfortable, you could do a 4 count inhale, 6 count exhale. Make the practice your own. Make the practice something that you can enjoy. So we'll begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Pause. You're going to continue to take these inhales and exhales for a few rounds on your own, noticing what comes up in the mind, noticing the distracting thoughts, and being okay with that. And just returning to the breath, returning to your sense of presence. It may help to close the eyes just to keep the external information at bay. And you can let your breath return to normal. And we'll get started on the mat. I think we will, yeah, let's get started in a cross-legged position with support under your hips. So again, blocks or blankets or a sturdy cushion. If you don't have any of those, then just continue to sit in a chair before you get started on the mat. And I'll just put our music on. Okay. I think I will, it's chilly in here today, so I'm going to keep everything on until we get a bit more into our movement. 2 blocks, blankets are useful here. Okay. So again, if you've been sitting cross-legged one way, you may want to recross. You may want to cover yourself with like the sweater is like a wearable blanket for a reason. But yeah, it is chilly in here this morning. So wherever you are, just make sure you're warm enough. And once we find our nice tall seat, we're going to do a few rounds of just inhaling the arms over the head, bringing the prayer to the heart, and just a little conscious gratitude practice. So let's inhale together. Arms overhead, hands come to prayer, prayer comes to heart, exhaling. And just offering love and gratitude for this body, this vessel, this person that we are, that we get to be in the world, the unique and crazy things that this particular body does and enjoys. And oh my goodness, all that our body processes and holds and digests and experiences. This is like an incredible instrument of consciousness, our hearts, our souls. This is such a gift that we offer such love and gratitude for the experience of being ourselves, of you being you. And then we'll take a nice inhale. Arms overhead, prayer comes to heart. And again, offering just love and gratitude for all of the incredible people that we are walking on this path with together. You who are joining me here today, your deep connections, your loved ones, your friends, your communities, your coworkers, and also all those people that are out there in our lives who do incredible work that makes our lives possible, that we may never see or meet or know, but we're all connected. Every conscious thought is a conscious thought rippling with our conscious thinking. So thank you, and I love you to all people, the ones who challenge us, the ones who inspire us to address our own shadows, the people who come into our lives, and it may be chaotic or painful, but wow, we learned so much about who we are from the experience. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then we'll inhale, arms overhead. Let's take a reach here and then just head to the left. Oh, and then straight and bend to the right. And we'll bring that prayer to our heart. And oh, from the very depths of my core, I offer love and gratitude for this planet, for all the living things and beings and consciousness that it manifests, the incredible light, the incredible skies. What I'm seeing, the dawn's light outside of the windows right now, and it makes me think of the beautiful slanted evening light that we see at this time of year, those kind of low angles, and just how it illuminates and touches us. And with such love and gratitude to be able to walk in this world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll inhale our arms overhead. Our left hand will come down. We'll just reach the right arm over. And then up to center. Exhale, right hand down, left arm up and over. And you can really press into that bottom hand, lifting the top hand, feeling the side body all the way to the hip and up. We'll do that once more. Left hand comes down, right arm reaches, right hip presses into the ground. You can feel around there if there's any tension or stretching. Bring your arm slightly forward, bring your arm slightly backward. Just have a bit of an exploration, see what feels good for your side body. And then we'll inhale both arms overhead, right arm coming down, left arm coming up. And again, tilting slightly forward, tilting slightly backward. Just allow yourself to add some movement here. Find anything that you want to just stretch a little bit more. And we'll bring it up and hands to prayer. And we'll come off of our block and come to our hands and knees. I did a lot of crazy dancing at the weekend, so I'm a little stiff myself today. And I just encourage you to curl in here, puffing up between the shoulder blades, really pressing into the mat with your hands. And maybe just go back and forth here. Roll back your hips towards your heels, roll forward, your shoulders come over your hands, maybe slightly forward. And really keeping that spine puffed up. And then we'll take an arch. Lifting the heart center, lifting the tail, letting the belly drop, and then curl in, pulling out the belly, dropping the tail, dropping the crown of the head. Pressing up between those shoulder blades. And again, inhaling. And exhaling. And we're just going to take our hands slightly forward in front of us, and we're just going to let our hips drop. And curl up as if you're going back to child's pose, but not quite, because when you get there, you're going to inhale forward again, letting the hips drop towards the mat, lifting the heart center, and curling back. And one more time. And then we'll take it all the way back to a child's pose. Knees can be wide, toes touch. And just rock your hips. Allow your body to move. It's a morning practice, so a yawn might come out just like that. And that's fine. That's what we're here. We're waking up. You might feel the tightness in the quads and just bringing your hips back and forth, wagging your tail. And then we'll press up again to hands and knees, curling up between the shoulder blades. Oh yeah. And then let's, I realize my feet are still in the sock mode. But we're gonna stay in your tabletop, find a neutral spine. We're just gonna press that right foot back, really pressing into the heel of the right foot, maybe giving yourself a little forward and backward with movement if it's a little stiff. And then spinning that right heel down, reaching the right arm up, and then Reaching the right arm over your head. So your arm is by your ear. Really feeling the stretch along the right side body, from the edge of your right foot to the tips of your right fingers. Reach, reach, reach into that hand. Oh, okay. And then we'll bring that hand down. Come back to your hands and knees. Inhale. Out. Exhale. Cat, again, really puffing up between those shoulder blades. And we'll extend the left foot back and just for a moment press into that heel, add a little movement back and forth. And spinning that heel down, we draw the left arm up overhead, and then that left hand comes by our ear, or left arm by our ear. Really pressing foot into the mat and feeling the stretch from the edge of your left foot to the tips of your left fingers. And bring that back down. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. And we're going to reach our right arm up and bring it underneath our left hand so that the right shoulder is resting on the mat and the right side of the head, the temple, is on the mat. You can use your left hand to press into the mat and feel into this shoulder stretch. Again, allowing yourself to explore it. Just very small, subtle movements that will allow you to access more of this shoulder stretch. Back up, hands and knees. Left arm reaches up, threads underneath. That left shoulder is now resting on the mat. Left side of the head. Right arm presses into the ground, giving you a little bit of leverage to explore your shoulder twist, stretch. Just enough. Explore. Notice any thoughts coming up. Any thoughts that you might have about where your body is this morning. Just notice. Notice. And then press our hands and knees in. Inhale. Drop the belly, lift the heart, lift the tail. Exhale, round. And so we're going to come into a downward facing dog. You're welcome to tuck your toes and press your hips up and back into the traditional pose. I'm actually going to show an alternative to downward facing dog today. And I even encourage you, even if you want to do a normal downward dog practice, to try this because it's different. You're going to need a wall. And basically what we're trying to do is access the pose, but in a way that feels good to a body that maybe doesn't want to be inverted so much. So you're going to have your feet about hip width on the mat, standing, and you're going to be facing a wall. And let's just reach out with the wall with our hands and press into the wall. So we're just a straight spine. Straight from our ankles all the way up to the crown of our head. And then you're going to bring your hips back so that they are over top of your feet. So we're going straight. You see that? That's straight. And just keep pressing into the wall with your hands. And then feel as the hips draw back and find their place vertical over your feet. Your hands may come down. If they're not, even you can keep it further up. Whatever feels comfortable, as long as you're pressing straight into your arms. So you can really actually, when we talk about extending the tailbone in downward facing dog, you can really extend your tailbone here, pressing into the wall
And then feeling almost this outward curl of your upper arms, like your upper arms want to curl outward, and you'll feel how that increases the length of your tailbone as your feet press into the mat and your hips press back. And you can just be here. This is a really great alternative to downward facing dog. You're doing exactly the same shape. You're just more upright. If you want to go deeper into the pose, you really come into the sort of more of a right angle with a flat back. But I would say find the angle that feels supported to you. Really knit those front ribs in, don't let them float out. And then we'll just come back to stand. Slowly make your way up the wall. As we're here, let's do a little neck stretch. So we're going to press our left hand into the wall, and it's going to be right at shoulder height. Just let our head, our right ear drop to the right shoulder. Just feel that. Again, you might go back and forth. Then we'll turn around. Again, pressing the right hand into the wall, letting the left ear drop to the shoulder. Really press into that because it's going to help you feel the stretch. I'm going to press into the hand against the wall and then come back up to straight. Let's come to the ground. Fully down. And rest here for a moment. Arms will come either side. You're going to press your hips into the ground. Feel the legs lift. Feel the chest lift, the head lift. Keep the back of the neck long, just looking down at the mat. Doesn't have to be high. You're just taking a simple back bend here, reaching the arms, and coming down again. We'll do that one more time. Pressing the hips into the mat, reaching the legs, shoulders lift, the head lifts, the back of the neck stays long, and then you might want to include your hands here. Shalabhasana, locust pose. And then come down. I'm going to press back to your hands and knees. And I'm going to have you bring your right foot between your hands. Just keep your back knee where it is. And we'll just go down into the hip flexor, stretch back. We're not really fully in a low lunge here. We're just kind of moving between a short lunge and a short half split. It's really just to access those things that we do when we do Anjaneyasana and Hanumanasana, but in a very gentle way. You're moving between letting the hip drop and then pushing into the front foot and just slightly straightening it, but not really staying there, not fully straightening it. This is just to help access waking up the leg. And then we'll bring that right knee back and bring the left foot forward between the hands. And again, rocking back and forth. Letting the hip drop and then letting the leg lengthen. And just allow yourself to explore this, what feels right for you. You might let your back and the back of your neck curl over your leg. And I'll just come back again. We're going to reach back into child's pose. Just keep your knees together because we're not going to be here that long. Maybe wiggle your shoulders here and then sit back on your ankles. You're going to clasp your hands at the base of your spine, maybe press them away, and just allow
the chest and the gaze to go up, but just gently. And then allow yourself to return to neutral. Give yourself a hug here. The left arm can be under the right. Shoulder blades, or your fingers find your shoulder blades. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl. Inhale, lift. Exhale, curl. Lift. Exhale, curl. And really just allow yourself to almost curl all the way down here, as if your head was going to touch the mat. And then curl up. Arms come wide. And we'll take the other side. The right arm comes underneath the left arm. Fingers reach to the shoulder blades. Inhale, arch. Exhale, curl. Inhale, arch. Exhale, curl. Inhale, arch. Exhale, and curl. Imagine your fingers are just pulling the shoulder blades apart. And we'll take it down again, just a little bit further in, curling into the self. And come back up to seated. I want to do one more downward dog at the wall. Again, just to demonstrate that if you want to take a regular downward dog, you just place your hands and feet on the mat and press your hips back. Otherwise, you'll be here. Again, your feet are about legs distance from the wall. You're standing straight up, and then your hands are going to go out and reach the wall and press into the wall. And again, finding that length from the back of your ankles to the crown of your head, and then slowly bringing your hips back until they're over top of your feet, and letting your feet fall, and then really imagining the upper arms turning outward as you press into the wall, press into your feet, feeling the length of the spine, feeling the tailbone lift. And just be here for a few breaths, feeling that pressing in. This is such a great alternative to downward facing dog. And maybe much better for your body right now to do it in a much more supported way. There's such a idea that we have to force our bodies to do things because that's what we're supposed to do, and that's how injuries happen. It really is. So gently going to come out of that. I think we should wind it down a little bit. There's always never enough time in these morning practices. Hopefully at some point you'll indulge me and let it become an hour and a quarter practice instead of an hour practice, but feedback is always welcome. So your left leg will be under, left foot at the right hip, or if you're mirroring me, your right leg will be under, right foot at the left hip, holding that knee in, and then left arm lifts at the base of the spine. It really helps act with some leverage. You can hold your top knee in or hook your elbow, just finding that twist. And let that go. We'll do the little semicircle, pressing into our feet, drawing a semicircle behind us with our hands, and come into the other side. So if you're mirroring me, your left leg will be under, your right foot will be over top. Right foot beside the left hip, holding that in, and then reaching your right arm at the base of the spine, reaching your left arm and either holding the knee with a straight spine or hooking the knee with your elbow. And let that go. Let's do a little forward fold. Let's do a Baddha Konasana. So you may want to bring some support underneath your hips, a blanket here. I'll show you what I mean. Just the corner of a folded blanket like this. So it's like almost like a diamond underneath your hips, and you're going to sit on the diamond and feet come together, knees fall apart. If it's uncomfortable on your knees, you can definitely put some blocks underneath there. You're just going to hold the feet like an open book, just finding a nice tall spine here. And then curl in. We're just doing straight curl in. We're not doing flat back at all. Let's curl the spine in. And then extend. And then second curl in, and we'll stay there. Just allowing yourself to curl in. Breathing. Feeling that space between the shoulder blades again in a different way. And coming up to center. From here, we're going to extend the left leg out to the left. You can just stay on your blanket. It helps for support. Right foot is gently folded in. Left hand, just allow it to rest on that leg. And you're just feeling that right side body. You might even want to run your hand up and down the line of your right side body. And then draw a semicircle up and over your head, reaching into the side bend. Bring that foot out. Take the right leg out straight. Left leg is bent. Allow the right arm to just go along. Yeah, just allow at first yourself to bend in, and using your left hand, just feel the left side of the body. Feel that line from the left ribs down to the left hip, and then drawing a semicircle up and over. Really feeling the length of your stretch here. An hour passes so quickly. And coming up, and we're going to bring our legs out into a nice speed that feels comfortable. Again, hip support here could be really useful. A block for underneath the head. Feel really wonderful, because then you just let all of the weight and all of the gravity just melt. What you don't want to be experiencing here is any kind of efforting. And as our forehead makes contact with whatever point that is most supportive, you can just imagine drain through your third eye, and this water vortex, this beautiful pure water draining through the third eye deep into the earth. And whatever is in the mind, the noisiness, the busyness, the unnecessary voices of this and that and judgment,
let it all drain into the earth deep beneath you, draining out through the third eye, this pure water. Feel the emptiness and the stillness that's left behind. And then pressing up into your hands. We'll make our way to our backs. So if you want, you can use the blanket to put underneath your head. Those blocks. You're not going to need them now. So roll onto the mat so that the blanket supports the head and neck, or it's really just holding the head, and the edge of the blanket is kind of at the occipital ridge. Feel our arms wide here for a moment. Windshield wiper, the legs right to left. Press into your feet. Allow the knees to just fall to the left. Very gentle twist. Not doing any effort, just letting gravity help you twist. Press back up. And hips to the left. Knees fall to the right. Gentle twist. And again, come back to center. And just take your Shavasana. Legs come out, arms by the side, letting the body relax, ceasing to engage anything at all, but be in a process of active disengagement. I am actively disengaging everything. Any gripping in the buttocks and the shoulders, any gripping in the back, in the feet, the calves and the hips. Just letting it all go. Melting into the mat. Slowly bringing a little bit of movement back to your fingers and toes. Deep breathing. Make your way to a fetal position on one side. And then just find your way, pressing up to a seat, keeping your eyes closed or soft focus. Finding a straight spine here. Bring one hand over the heart, other hand connecting, or a prayer, or wherever your hands are comfortable. Again, just bringing that situation in the world, a place, a people, a person, yourself, that you have offered the beautiful benefit of this practice together today towards. And know that our practicing together in this way has magnified our intent and magnified the energetic benefit that we're sending. Thank you for practicing with me. Thank you for magnifying our heart energy together.
And we'll take one Om to close out. So inhale to Om. Bowing forward, I bow to you, my teachers, my friends. I bow to you for your unique gifts, for your extraordinary talent, your unique energy and heart light. I am honored to know you, and I'm honored to be walking this path together. And thank you so much for all that you do simply by being yourself. Be good to yourself. Be a friend to yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you, friends. Have a beautiful day. Wish you all so well. And we'll continue to talk about the 8 limbs of yoga this week and the yamas and niyamas, and it'll help me brush up on my yoga philosophy as much as I am imparting it to you. So I hope you can join me for more of that fun. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.